Our last bit of conversions deals with weight and temperature and just kind of everything together. So here are a bunch of different conversions that we use just in general. 1 foot is 12 inches, 1 yard is 3 feet, 1 mile is 5,280 feet. So those are all dealing with length. 1 pound is 16 ounces. 1 ton is 2,000 pounds. And then 1 cup is 8 fluid ounces. So those kind of deal with both weight and also some volume. And then 1 pint is equivalent to 2 cups. 1 quart is 2 pints. 1 gallon is 4 quarts. Those all deal with volume. And then the last one deals mostly with time. 1 minute is 60 seconds. 1 hour is 60 minutes. 1 day is 24 hours. And then assuming it's not a leap year, 1 year is 365 days. So we can always utilize these to convert between them because we know they're representing the same thing. 1 day is 24 hours. It's just a different perspective of looking at things. So we're going to try some examples. First, we're told a container holds 26 ounces of salt. We want to figure out how many pounds is that. So the conversion that I have between pounds and ounces is 1 pound is equivalent to 16 ounces. Okay. So if I'm starting with 26 ounces and I want to get rid of the ounces unit, I'm going to put that in the bottom and pounds is going to go in the top. So this way ounces is gone and then 1 pound is 16 ounces. So again, this is really like I've multiplied by 1. It's not going to change anything at all. So I'm left with 26 in the top, 16 in the bottom, and the only unit that remains is pounds. So going through this division, this is 1.625 pounds. So that container of salt holds 1.625 pounds of salt. For these next ones, we're just going to convert to the given units. And so we're going to start with pounds to tons. And again, 1 ton is equivalent to 2,000 pounds. Okay. So if I'm starting with 5,000 pounds, to get rid of my pounds unit, it goes in the bottom. So this way it cancels, and then tons will go in the top. 1 ton is equivalent to 2,000 pounds. So all that's left in the numerator is the 5,000, the denominator is 2,000, and tons is the unit that remains. So 5,000 pounds is equivalent to 2.5 tons. Then moving on to go between quarts and cups. Unfortunately, I don't have a direct conversion, but I do know that 1 quart is equal to 2 pints. And then 1 pint is equal to 2 cups. So if I'm starting with 15 quarts, to get rid of quarts right away, we're going to put that in the bottom. So this way quarts is gone. And I know 1 quart is equivalent to 2 pints. But I'm still not at the unit I want, so I need to do this again. To get rid of this pints unit, I need it in the bottom. And then I know that 1 pint is equivalent to 2 cups. So going through this multiplication, we're left with 15, 2, and 2 in the top. The 1 and the 1 in the bottom does nothing, and the only unit remaining is cups. So this is equivalent to 60 cups. Okay. For this last one, we want to go from pounds to kilograms. And just as a general idea, 0.45 kilograms is equivalent to 1 pound. So if I'm starting with 12 pounds, to get rid of the pounds unit, we put it in the denominator. So this way it's gone. And 1 pound is about 0.45 kilograms. So all that's left is the 12 and the 0.45 in the top. The unit that remains is kilograms. So going through this multiplication, it's about 5.4 kilograms. Okay. The last type of measurement that we're going to talk about is going to be with temperature. So we know we measure everything in degrees Fahrenheit. But again, most of the world uses a different system. So the more common one that you're going to see if you go overseas anywhere is going to be Celsius. So we use a degree with an F for Fahrenheit, but they use the degree symbol with a C for Celsius. So this is often used for temperature. There's also Kelvin, but that's used more so in science and with like different materials and all. So something more complicated, nothing we would use in day-to-day life. So to give you a kind of comparison, 32 degrees Fahrenheit is going to be when water freezes. That's equivalent to 0 degrees Celsius. And the nice thing about it, 0 is when water freezes in Celsius. 100 degrees is when water boils. So again, this standard notation is nice because everything's in terms of tens, and that's always good. But for us, 212 degrees Fahrenheit would be when water is going to boil. If you look at 23 degrees Celsius, that's going to be equivalent to 73.4 degrees Fahrenheit. So this just gives you an idea of what generic room temperature is. And then likewise, 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit is normal body temperature. That's about 37 degrees Celsius. So the conversions here aren't as straightforward. I don't have that 1 degree Celsius is exactly equivalent to this many degrees Fahrenheit. There's actually going to be 2 different formulas that you end up using. So if I want to go from Celsius to Fahrenheit, my degrees Fahrenheit is going to be 9/5 of the degrees Celsius plus 32. If I'm given Fahrenheit and I want to go to Celsius, the formula I'm going to use is the degrees Celsius is 5/9, the degrees Fahrenheit minus 32. So very similar equations, and there's a reason for that because we call these functions inverses of each other. But really, if you just take this equation and solve it for C, it's exactly this one. So we're just going to do 2 quick examples. We're going to convert to the indicated quantity. So in the first one, I'm starting with degrees Celsius, and I want to get to Fahrenheit. So it's going to make more sense to use this formula because I will plug in C, and that tells me F. So my degrees Fahrenheit is going to be 9/5 my degrees Celsius plus 32. Okay. And 100 degrees Celsius, I already know what it does equal Fahrenheit. It's more so to just show you this formula is correct. But if you do 9/5 times 100, that should give you 180. And then when you add 32 to that, it gives you exactly 212. So 100 degrees Celsius is 212 degrees Fahrenheit. If I convert -5 degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius, I'm starting with Fahrenheit and getting to Celsius, so it's going to make more sense to use this equation. This is a freezing temperature. So I want to do 5/9 my degrees Fahrenheit minus 32. So you do 5/9, -5 minus 32 is -37. And then unfortunately, this is not going to be as nice of a number. It is an approximation. This is about -20.6 degrees Celsius. Okay. So again, nice conversion back and forth. It's just not as straightforward as the other ones because I can't say 1 degree Celsius is exactly this many degrees Fahrenheit. It doesn't have that nice relationship Because in all the other instances, if I have 0 pounds, that's 0 tons. If I have 0 seconds, that's 0 minutes. But if I have 0 degrees Celsius, I have 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's not equivalent of none of one to none of the other. So it gets a more complicated formula.